Welcome. Welcome, everybody, to the Making Awesome podcast. This is episode 213. It is the first of the new year. Thank you all for showing up. We might have internet issues today. Hopefully we don't, but I will be recording this as well. So if there are any issues, we'll just post the recording. And then we'll call Spectrum. Anyways, hope everyone's had a awesome new year so far. And if you have an Anycubic Cobra 3, check your wiring. It's the best thing that I can say. So, 2025, new year, probably same me. Let's just be honest with that. You know, I'm going to lose some weight, but I put it all back on when we were traveling. So last year we did this same video. Was it basically the same time of the year too? I'm honestly not certain. Oh, yep, there we go. Dropping frames like a bad habit. Oh well. We're gonna keep rolling and hopefully let's just start nuking things until it fixes itself. Anyways, we're gonna be talking all about what we thought last year, how it worked out, what we thought this year, how it worked out, and kind of what the plan is. We're going to be giving away some printed solid filament as well, so do make sure that you stick around for that. So, yeah. Mods, just start deleting the comments regarding issues with the live stream. You guys know at this point, you know, I've done what I can. Right, I'll call Spectrum as soon as we're done, but I reset the router and modem right before we started. Literally right before we started. So there's nothing more I can do. All right. First thing, let's cover what we thought for 2024, right? I thought that multicolor was going to be coming to the masses. 3D scanners were going to get cheap. We were going to see more connected hardware. DRM, for sure, we're going to see more DRM and 3D printers as a commodity and appliance. And yep, I think nail on the head for that 100%, nail on the head. I think the only thing we didn't really see a ton of was DRM. I mean, we saw a lot of companies releasing machines with DRM capabilities, right? We did see that. However, we haven't really seen them like actually utilize. And as we've talked about with like the bambu DRM and, you know, their chipped filament and all that, they're not really degrading the experience by not using their stuff, but they're upgrading the experience by using their stuff. And I'm expecting other manufacturers to do similar. We are seeing an open standard attempted here. We'll see what latest bambu printer is going to do. It's got a rocking head motion, which I'm fairly certain is patented, so we'll see how that works out for them. But yeah, it's going to be an interesting year when it comes to technology, because as we've seen the past couple of years, a lot of manufacturers have simply just copied bambu, tried to reduce the price, tried to add some feeling, and it doesn't work. You know, they're nowhere near as successful. We've seen, yeah, Jonathan asks, or Tarzan says, you want me to call Spectrum so they can see it live? Please do. Yeah, please do actually call them. Because this is absolute dog water. Like, I have no internet, but I'm just going to roll through it, and it's going to be what it's going to be. But yes, please call. Please go ahead and call Spectrum so they can see what it's like, because from my end, it's not me. I can see it's them. Yeah, literally I can see the traffic spiking on the modem side. But yeah, go ahead and call them. All right. Let's talk about this one a little bit, right? Copying bambu. Is it going to happen? Yeah, of course it's going to happen. Companies are going to continue to do it. And, oh, I have a bug on me. Get off. Was outside putting the greenhouse back together with Miss Amber B this morning. Are companies going to continue to do it? Yes, they are going to continue to do this. So the success of the H2D, or not success, I mean, it will all depend, will directly determine the future of this industry for 2025 in the consumer side, right? I'm not going to talk about the industrial side. Quite frankly, the industrial side is having some problems, we'll just go with. We saw Velo 3D is pretty much gone. Nexa 3D is pretty much gone. We're seeing a lot of these companies that went public via SPACs, special purpose acquisition committees, or companies, sorry, company. They're not surviving. So I don't want to talk too much about the industrial side, and I don't think a lot of you really care about it, so we'll move past it. I think the Core 1 for Pria is going to be a good release. I think it's going to kind of bring them back into the major challengers of 3D printing. I think that Pria, from some of the fanboys, myself included, are going to see some pushback regarding open source or lack thereof. Of course, the Core 1, Mark IV, and the Mark IV's do not abide by the open source directives and everything that's required for it. So I think we're going to see some pushback there. But, of course, the reasoning I understand. I don't have to agree with it to understand it. I think that it does pull away from some of the laurels that Pria has built its company upon. But I do think the company's going to be, risen up quite a bit by a consumer-grade Core XY machine and not having to spend XL money. Speaking of XL money, if you do want to get a Pria printer and you want to get it from a USA source, you can do so by checking out Printed Solid. Links are in that description down below, and they are our filament sponsor for 2025. We didn't really sign a contract, but they're currently the filament sponsor. We love Printed Solid. We've loved them for years, well before they allowed us to give away some awesome filament to you. So make sure you enter in that pinned comment. And don't forget, these streams are brought to you ad-free. So if you don't mind, hey, a couple of bucks every now and then goes a long way to helping these streams make. The 85X will come out this year. If we end up with... Try to think of like the right move on that one, but I think we're going to see a lot more companies enter this world, but we are having the open source people, right? LDO's got the Box Turtle. We've got, is it VCC from Big Tree Tag? I think that's what they're calling it. VCC potentially. I think that there is a lot of opportunity there, and I think because of that, the DRM control that we see on these multicolor machines, VVD, Mr. T-Brum is telling me, okay. VVD, thank you. I don't know it off the top of my head. It's a weird name, okay? I'm sorry. But, yeah, I don't know if DRM's going to be as big of a thing as I thought it would be. I think we will see an open DRM standard, start to come out, right? We talked about that with Mitch from Polar Filament. If someone wants to, put that in the chat, they can. Or one of the mods wants to put it in the chat, they can. And I'm hoping that this year we actually bring on a co-host. I have an idea for a co-host. I need to kind of fully approve it with them, but I have an idea for a co-host of this podcast, and it would start after they are a guest on this podcast, which would be kind of cool. I am hoping that 2025 we will see, and we're already seeing it, but more metrology grade 3D scanners come out at an affordable price point, right? We saw the Raptor X, the Metro X. We have this new LiDAR scanner coming out from 3D Maker Pro. Yeah, 3D Maker Pro. And 3D Maker Pro, if you're watching this, send me that LiDAR scanner. I want it. I would love to see that scanner in our shop. Tina Schultz asks, how does DRM work for 3D printers? Is it for STLs? How would that work? It'd be for the filament, right? You can easily DRM the filament. You chip the filament, and then you end up with a situation where you can't use anybody else's filament other than your own, or you are directly kneecapping the abilities of the machine. So, yeah. Thomas Hellstrom asks, there's some rock dots on there, and I don't know how to say that one correctly, but he said, can we dream of a standard that all manufacturers follow for RFID? I would love that, but I think companies like Bambu want to have and maintain a specific standard. But as a lot of you know, Bambu's PLA is not real PLA. There's other stuff mixed in it. And they enable faster flow by providing you with a more streamlined material set. That's as close to a fully chipped printer that I want to get. And as Mike from Never Let the Machines Win said, DaVinci Flashbacks is difficult. He says Swedish, but that doesn't help me, okay? I have no Swedish in me that I'm aware of. I could go, like, do a stream at IKEA or something, I guess, but... Tina Schultz says Bambu's PLAs from Sunloom. I did not know that. Did I know that? I don't think I knew that. And if I did know that, I didn't remember it. But yeah, it's because like we have a CR Scan Raptor. You guys are gonna see that in an upcoming video. But we tested it to 27 microns of accuracy. And that is with Geomagic's design, or was it Control X? Yeah, it was Control X. So we took a $20,000 a year piece of software and validated that one can actually do 27 microns. The problem is, its software is crap. It's absolute crap. And I hope that 2025 is the software year. Now, I'm not predicting that it's going to be, because I don't think it's going to be. And Jonathan, I will send you the Spectrum code. I just texted it to you. I would love to see better software out of these scanners. I'm an Artec fanboy. A lot of you all know that I love Artec scanners, but they're $1,700 a year just for the software to run them. And I would like to see better software come out of these affordable scanners so they can finally put something up against Artec. The Shining 3D Libre, we will be taking a look at that relatively soon. We have a local Shining 3D office. I don't know if they're going to let me film it. I might have to, like, take it and film, because if I film it in their facility, there is some inherent biases that occur. I'm gonna bring out my Leo and my Spider, and we're gonna have some fun. I've had some fun with the Shining 3D peeps before, and we're just kind of see what we can see. But that Libre is still like 30 grand. It's not cheap, to be clear, but 30 grand for what it's claiming and what they say it can do is actually pretty good. Mike said he got his Metro X. It works with his Mac during initial tests. Need to block out more time for it. Macs are definitely not designed for 3D scanning. You need NVIDIA GPUs, and I don't think Macs really do that kind of thing. You need the CUDA cores. So 3D printing wise, I think big is going to be one of the things that happened this year. I have more or less confirmation from Bambu, from multiple people within Bambu Lab, that this new machine, the H2D, is a real leak. That is a real machine. That is not just fake. And I have reasonable confirmation that it is a 320 cube. Right? We have the Creality K2 Plus at 350. We have the Elegoo Orange Storm Giga that, to me, has always been a bit of a bit of a challenge, if you will. But that machine, again, is big. I think Rat Rig is going to become more machines that people build for kits, and I am looking to build a 500 cube Rat Rig. I think it'd be a great machine to build. I have already started, at least for us, the work on a build out of a container, what that's going to look like to move the entire business into that. And I think that would be a really rip, rockin', roarin' good time. But otherwise, I think it really all depends on how good this H2D from Bambu is. Right? And when you look at the naming scheme, H2D, they could have an H3D, 4D, 5D. And the way they're doing it is they're, from what I can tell from the photos, they're rocking the hot ends back and forth to give you a dual hot end setup, multi-material setup. 2 is kind of the minimum. And I will tell you, like, being able to have supports that look like that just literally pop off your print because your interface material is a different material and you don't have to do a crap load of purging. Super, super cool. I absolutely love to see it. So I do love to have that, you know, kind of particular. For us in 3D Musketeers, I think that this is the year of testing for us and the year of education for us. Q3, we are planning on launching our entire suite of classes. I'm going to be taking content considerably more seriously this year than I ever have in the past. We are going to be looking to bring in a secondary internet source, likely a 5G backup, because as a lot of you can see, my internet is absolute crap right now, and I have no other options other than DSL. So we are going to do our best to take content more seriously, do bigger projects for bigger reasons. Hold on. Jonathan just asked if I reset the modem and router before the stream. I said yes, have him check the uptime. FS is PO Poly cooking anything? You know, I'm not certain that they are. Mark has not yet started to ask me random questions via DM trying to get info out of me, so I'm not certain. If they are, I'm not privy to it. Let's go with that. As Tomas is saying, for me, 2 heads would meet 99% of my multicolor, multi-material use cases. So it would be awesome to see a 5 color AMS with 1 being a secondary color or a secondary material and then the other 4 being multicolor. This is where I think 3D printing should be going. A bigger machine means you can fit a bigger AMS into it. So Bambu, hopefully, Nathan, ping my brother in the tech support channel. We have an OpenSense router with a SIM card slot on it. I'm just going to get a 5G SIM card and in we go. We don't have great 5G here, but it's better than having a ton of downtime that we have currently. So I like this idea of a 5 color unit, but one of them is a different material. So if you're running 4 PETG colors, you have 1 roll of PLA, vice versa, whatever you want to do. That way, the second head can be used for soluble supports or soluble interfaces and that kind of thing. And as Rez said, you can extend Box Turtle to 5 lanes. Yes. And we're seeing LDO, at least from the leaks, more of their teasing. We're looking at more tool changing. I think 2025 is going to be the year of multi-hot end printers. I'm not certain if we're going to see a lot of tool changers, similar to what Pria does, Tap Changer has, and was it KB3D has their black box. I don't know if it's going to be like that. I think it's going to be similar to what Bambu is doing because that's what a lot of companies do. They just copy Bambu. But I think that that is where we're going to go because that's kind of the final frontier right now that we're missing is easy, non-mixing, dissimilar support material. So, you on the Pria XL, all the colors. That would be cool, but yeah, I don't know. Seems excessive. Ronnie says tool changers are awesome. The SV08 mod looks so damn cool. I totally agree, and I want to do that mod on my SV08. Having another tool changer in the shop would be great, and I think it would be a phenomenal low-cost option to those that don't have Pria money, but can slowly build up to do tool changing. Then they see the value in it. Then they decide that, you know, Pria. Reth says try decks with a box turtle. There's some value there too, right? I think that Big Tree Tech is going to be gaining a lot more market share than we've previously seen. I think LDO and BTT, they've slowly been kind of carving out kind of separate but equal, if you will, market shares in this industry, where LDO is more of the hardware provider and Big Tree Tech and BQ are more of the, electrical providers with their super, super cool clear PCBs. Luke, if you're watching this, I need more clear PCBs in your products. I will absolutely use them in everything because clear PCBs are just cool. But it seems like everyone's kind of playing ball. I would love to see the RepRap festivals become more of a celebration of 3D printing and not so much like a mini CES starting to happen relatively soon, which is cool. Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to think of like what else. And I should probably be updating the description in this video so that I can add it. Hold on. Better scanning software. We did bamboo clones. Multi-material again. You know, I said multi-material. And hardware, software. I would really bit on sense to have any wacky predictions. I don't know if I really do. We're getting to the point where like we have insider knowledge of things that I have to avoid completely because I know that it will be true if I say it. So to be clear, anything that I have insider knowledge of, I am directly avoiding because that's cheating, right? I want to make predictions for things that I don't have an idea about and kind of evidence, best guesses, scientific method, and all of that. Yeah. Nick T said, in 12 years, I've never needed to do multicolor prints, but I don't print trinkets. Dude, I did not think that the AMSs were going to take off the way that they did. Right? I didn't think that multicolor printing was going to take off the way that it did. I really thought that people were going to look at the waste produced by these AMS style machines, box turtles, whatever, and say, no, that's a lot of waste. I don't want to contribute to plastic waste. But we saw the introduction of, oh, what the heck? Where was I? We saw the introduction of, 3D printers as commodity appliances, right? We saw 3D printers become commodities. We saw them become closer to appliances, and you don't care too much what waste your appliance produces. That's why a lot of you run your dishwasher before it's full. You care about the convenience factor that it brings you. And if your 3D printer can go ahead and just simply make the part for you, you don't care about the waste that it produces. And I get that. I just don't have to agree with it. Reth says Stealth Changer can do 0 purge tool changes. I believe the XL can do it as well. I don't normally have it do that. Not worth it to me. But yes, it is possible. James Printer says 2025 will be the year of ecosystems. We've already seen ecosystems starting to spread in 2024, and that was not one of my predictions in 24, but I would agree with you, James the Printer, that it is the year of ecosystems. Yeah. In fact, I am going to tag you in... I'm going to tag you in the actual description of this video. When I update it, you'll see the tag go through. I would agree, right? We've seen Creality move with the unicorn nozzles. We've seen Pria, obviously, with the Nextruder nozzles. We've seen Bambu with the Bambu nozzles, obviously. We've seen all these companies produce different nozzles that meet their own needs, rather than just adopting a standard like we saw previously. We got a chance to go take a look at TriLab, where the HT90 is made. I think you guys are going to really enjoy that video. And they're using the high flow and high temp Revos, which I was not expecting. I do unfortunately think that companies like E3D are going to find it challenging to maintain business operations with Chinese competitors and overseas competitors producing products at a significantly lower margin. And to keep it as far away from being political as possible, we have to see what the politics in the United States go to, what the plans are for tariffs, if any, and how that will affect pricing of any machine, let alone the ones coming out of China. Remember, there could be... Don't complain later because you knew about this and you could have bought your machines early. But certainly if there is even a 10% tariff and Bambu releases a new machine, that is a significant blow to them and will make it difficult for them to sell things. So remember, the political environment is changing as well. It's changing all over the world, but in the United States, where the bulk of 3D printing does occur, that can change the landscape and make companies like E3D, even though they're not a US company, but, you know, like E3D, more price competitive simply because of the way that the tariffs are levied. Now, Chinese companies might say, screw it, we'll eat, you know, half of it in profit margin just to keep our prices low. We will have to see. So, yeah. Nick T said E3D will need to lower the prices on Revo if they want to make it more like the V6. They have, and I think the Revo is a very affordable setup, but I think because so many machines have moved away from the standard of a V6 clone into their own hot ends with their own engineering, adapting something like a Revo has become much more complicated. And because of that, people aren't doing it. Troy J says LDO stuff will be more expensive too. Yeah. F says 2025 Prusa going closed source is going to be interesting. So previous Prusa printers to the Mark IV are all open source. The XL is open source. MK3S and back are open source. The Mark IV started the quasi-open source Mark IVS. I don't think any of that new stuff is open source. And the Core 1, they have fully moved away from being open source. We discussed this. I believe we discussed it on camera. I need to go back and check, but if we didn't discuss it on camera, I will do a video on it. And I will see if we can get either Mikolas, Joe Prusa himself, or some representative from Prusa Research to discuss this with us very frankly as to why Prusa is moving away from open source. But I can tell you the answer should be obvious to most. All open source does is give the competitors the upper hand and all the engineering work that they need to not go through the R&D. That's where open source tends to fail. It's unfortunate, but it's the market. It's the market. Reth says flow is the limiting factor with the Revo. It is, and even the high flow still has a fairly limited level of flow, right? We don't have long Revos. Here. I'm grabbing a Revo real quick so I can kind of show it here. So, this is your standard Revo, right? A very it's literally, this is a non-high flow, non-hardened, nothing fancy special Revo, right? It pretty much matches the V6. There's high flow, there's high temp, but even the high flow, hot ends like the tube exists, and when hot ends like the tube exist, nothing high flow anymore, right? Like, at what level is high flow, right? And so, yeah, I get if you're like Reth and you're a unicorn chaser. If you don't know what I'm talking about, Reth was a previous podcast guest where we talked about chasing unicorns and hitting perfect input shaping results. If you want to watch that, one of the mods can go ahead and post that episode. Reth is a really, really awesome person who does some really cool stuff with the 3D printing elves. So if you do want to get involved with, producing toys for a charity that is not connected to someone who is also doing it for, the exposure, you can reach out to Reth. I'm sure he'd be happy to help. Christopher Elliott says, unfortunately, even though Printed Solid is a U.S. company and makes Pria in the U.S., all the individual parts will be subject to the tariffs, I think is what you meant. Yep, there are concerns for that as well. Obviously, the printed parts they can do here, they can make their own filament in the U.S., and they already have Pria made in America for sale. It was just super cool. I love to see it. I have spool number 2 or number 3 here, which is awesome. I'll never use it. It's one of those, like, this is special. It's special. It's like my special roll of Brad's orange that Brad made himself that he gave to me. I will never use it. The value that it holds to me in sentiment well outweighs the $20 spool, right? So, yes, the boards, the buddy boards and all that will be subject to those tariffs. We will have to see what, if any, does happen and what that looks like. But certainly if you're in the market to buy a printer, I'm not trying to be a FUD here or create, fear of uncertain demise here. But I would think if you have the finances to make the purchase of the machine in the next week or two, it might not be a bad idea. So, speaking of not a bad idea, not a bad idea to leave a like on this stream. We have 102 people watching, only 32 likes. That's a great ratio. And remember, these streams are ad-free, although they're not interruption-free, thanks to Spectrum. So if you do want to support us in maybe, I don't know, somehow paying someone in cash to bury a fiber line or something, donate to the stream. Yeah. And of course, use the pinned comment to enter to win some Printed Solid filament. At the end, we'll give away some Printed Solid filament before we kick you over to go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds. Something, it's Steve. He always works. He's always working on something. Tina Schultz says, Pria made a smart move here with Printed Solid. Pria made in the USA. I can't see Bambu building their printers in the US. I can see Bambu doing it, but I can't see Bambu doing it at that price point. And that's the trick. I can see Bambu building printers in the US, but building up manufacturing that quickly can be complicated. I don't know what's going to happen to the affordable printer market. I think it's just going to push the minimum a little bit higher, and it's going to be what it's going to be. I don't have to like it. We might see more improvements on domestic manufacturing, but I don't know. Historically, tariffs don't want them to. It just costs more for the classes that couldn't afford to eat already. But I'm now starting to get more political than I care to, so we're going to go ahead and move on. Christopher Elliott with the $5 says, donation for the Fiber Line Fund. Yeah, buddy. Thank you. Or should I say, yeah, dog? Although Pokon should say that. Guy looks just like Pokon. So what else are we going to see this year? Right? To me, it all comes down to politics. If we don't end up with serious tariffs, I think we start to see some big machines coming out of China. Specifically, I'm looking at SLS. Okay. So, SLS competitors. That is going to be one of my predictions this year. You see more SLS competition. We have multiple groups already working on affordable, fully or semi-open source SLS machines. And we're definitely seeing some come out of China. CES this year is going to show us a lot about what's coming from overseas, and I'm hoping that we see some sub $10,000 SLS machines that aren't too crazy dangerous, but can also provide users with some pretty heavy value when it comes to their machines themselves. I'm not really aware of any immediately off the top of my head that stand out, but I think we'll see some of the next couple of weeks coming out of CES. From what I saw at Smurf, from what I've learned about some other companies so far, high temp. High temp, high temp, high temp, high temp. It's the big thing that consumer grade 3D printers can't yet do is high temp. Peak, PEC, Ultem, even like polycarbonate, raw nylon, right? Consumer grade machines struggle with these materials simply because they can't maintain a chamber temperature. Of course, the X1E, the expensive X1 carbon with a bento heater inside of it, that exists. Pria has the HT90. That's $10,000. We're seeing Construct 3D come out with a machine that also has a heated chamber around the $10,000 price point. The Construct 2, I think, is what we agreed on, Jacob, hopefully. But yeah, I think high temp, we're going to see a lot of push for at least monitored chamber temps, right? Pria doesn't have an active chamber heater, but they have a very small chamber, and they're able to do some awesome stuff with that. And they have some really hardcore fans to maintain I think, up to 55 degrees Celsius chamber temperature, which is pretty respectable, but it won't get you the high temp. The Core 1 is an interesting machine, though, right? Roman, what are my predictions around NFC tag democratization prevalence in 2025, specifically for third-party spools or maybe DIY tags? Mitch from Polar Filament and I talked about this a little bit previously, where we discussed that DRM is likely coming whether we want it or not. It didn't come as fast as I expected in 2024, and I think companies are seeing that they can't get away with locking down their machines unless they're going to pay the premium for it. So there's not much I can do there. But as for an open standard, I would love to see it. Because when you integrate an open standard with something like Spoolman, it makes for inventory tracking much easier. Because right now, for us, for inventory, if I forget to put it all into Spoolman, dude, it sucks. And so, there are some points where we're so busy, I just look back and see what we have and what we don't have. And then there are times like right now where we're pretty slow at the moment because we're doing more scanning work. So yeah, there's opportunities, one should say, for an open standard to come out. Let's see. FJ Prince says SLS powder is nasty stuff. It is technically not more toxic than resin, but anything as a powder form has issues with like silicosis and similar issues where it gets into the lungs and you can't easily get it out. And when we see videos like Adam Savage with his what the heck, the Formlabs Fuse 1 Plus that he just got, and that's gonna be next week's Print Fix Friday, by the way. I'm going to talk all about kind of the dangers of powder-based 3D printing. But yeah, he wore no PPE, and I'm sorry, regardless of what you would wear in a shop environment, you are setting a standard for individuals, and you need to be wearing more PPE than you feel comfortable with, because you are setting the standard. And if someone says, well, Adam Savage didn't do it, I don't need to do it, and then they get injured somehow, we've got a problem now. And nobody wants to see that happen, right? So, that you are having a hard time enjoying my streams, I would appreciate that. Resin is not stuff one wants in a private house. I agree, but I think that we're going to see it. Build on Sound says, there are a large demand for those materials for the average user. I think there is. The average user wants it. The average user won't buy it. I think there's a big demand for it in small business. Like, I would love an SLS machine, but I don't want to spend 50 grand on a Fuse 1 Plus. And yes, I know the machine is only like 30, but the entire ecosystem runs about 50 to 60 grand. I would love to have SLS in-house. I got to go bother a buddy to go use his MJF printer. I would love to have availability for that stuff in-house, right? I think that would be a really, really, really valuable system. The 3D print turn Andrew Wilcoxon said, Spectrum is worse than SLS. You're damn right they are. Soundspark says, is Gizmo Dorks brand polycarbonate considered a pure polycarbonate? I know it's particularly hard to print, but when I succeed, it's pretty tough. I don't know. I've never used it. Traditionally, we're buying Polymaker's PC Max, or we're buying from 3DX Tech. Just kind of depends on who, who's more affordable at the moment. Let's your predictions in the chat as well. We'll talk about them and kind of see, kind of see where you think. Chris Knight asks, will 3D printing in ABS-less ASA also cause silicosis? I don't know. I'm not a doctor, and so I can't kind of guarantee that one way or the other. Silicosis, from my understanding, is when you get particles into the lungs that kind of block the lungs from doing their work. Please, someone correct me if I'm wrong. I'm going to go ahead and use Cunningham's law on that. I don't know if I'm correct. And the microplastics and all that from ABS, ASA, and the volatile organic compounds, the VOCs that come off of it, I don't think are traditionally a big deal. Well, in terms of air, in my experience. But yes, there are some health risks that we don't really have a lot of long-term study on as to exposure to these VOCs and everything like that. So PPE it up, folks. Please and thank you. Let's see. Soundspark says 119 is where my bed maxes out at. Glue sticks, brims, small parts. Lennon Triple C26 said 3DX Tech is a pain in the butt. It is, but it's pure material, and that's why it's hard to print. When you work in industry, like we do a lot of industry-related 3D printing, it is required to have those specific materials that are pure, because you need to hit a certain quality standard. So, in my opinion, that is where a heated chamber comes in, and a high-temp heated chamber, which we talked about a little bit earlier, that I believe high temp is going to be one of those big things that we see in 2025. Let's see. DaVinci Tenant says it's a college kid who's going to be trying resin printing in a dorm that I'd be kind of worried about. Yep, I agree. Romans says, I would love to see a fully realized dry box AMS unit, as people are more aware than ever about what humidity does to a filament. At least market is there for something like that. I disagree. I don't think humidity is anywhere near the issue that people think it is. I live in Florida. Literally, I live in a swamp. It is over 50% amp, 21 degrees Celsius outside. It is damp here. We do not have serious issues with PLA. Most people think that every single print failure is related to wet filament somehow. And yes, in PETG, if it starts to string over time, that's probably due to moisture. But a torch takes care of that no problem. PLA gets brittle, but that's really it. It's not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. It really isn't. And it takes months in open air to get mildly brittle, let alone become fully saturated. And as for PETG, I've had spools open for years, and while they might string, they're nowhere near fully saturated. So I don't think drying is as big of a deal on consumer-grade plastics as people think. It is on engineering plastics, but we've known that from the beginning. Let's see. Mr. Hubram says, more or less, I'd say VOC emissions from 3D printer emissions are a greater hazard. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there is some potential issues there for sure. David Contra I went with glass fiber and carbon fiber variants of PC and ABS and found they do okay without a heated chamber, but ambient temp variation is a problem. Yes, so carbon fiber and glass fiber infused keep the parts from warping as much. You sacrifice a little bit of your interlayer significantly stiffer material. We are going to be doing an entire testing series, so keep an eye out for it. We're going to be building a testing rig to put Tullamer to the test. And I want to see if we can utilize consumer available to better understand how Tullamer really gets its strength. So I think it should be fun. Let's see what else we got. Max HS for 2025 grant will be at Murph. The only way we will be at Murph is if we get a sponsor. So if someone wants to sponsor us to go to Murph, by all means, we will go. But Murph is just complicated to travel to. In fact, we might have to say the same thing for Rocky Mountain, as Rocky Mountain has gotten so bloody expensive to travel to. So bit of a bummer, but kind of is what it is, right? There's not too much I can do about it. I got to take a screenshot here real quick of how bad my packet loss is right now. Just absolutely insane. Mr. Hubers, I saw an ad on Instagram for a company. I know that Polar Filament's working on one. I think Polar's really pushing the boundaries on what we can make filament out of, and I think a pure PHA filament would be super cool. I am hoping that 2025 is, more environmental concerns, but I don't think it's going to happen. I would like to see it, but yeah, I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah. Kegel, sure. Says TPU and Ambrosia Doulos have been the most hygroscopic filaments I've used. I live in Louisiana. Yes, TPU is hygroscopic, very hygroscopic, in fact. I don't know what the Ambrosia Doulos is. Sounds like it's a shiny filament. Anything that is shiny has TPU in it, therefore does have hygroscopic problems. TPU is very hygroscopic. Please dry it. I don't care if you live in a very dry environment. Always dry TPU before you use it. It does absorb quite a bit of material, or quite a bit of water. We have that brand new Sunlu E2 coming out, which I'm very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. 110 Celsius, which you're talking engineering grade materials that like to dry at those temps. That's a big deal. Nathan Chu says PHA, the thing that can truly biodegrade. Yes. Yeah, that is what PHA is. It'd be nice to see more PHA, have truly biodegradable filament that we can toss and not have to feel bad about it. Would love to see it. Jacob Lord here, Mr. Construct 3D says, gut feeling we will see an uptick in Bowden printers as more consumer-facing companies go higher temp chambers and realize the regular grade electronics bake and die at higher chamber temps. Maybe, or they just ruggedize, or they just don't care. I mean, there's that entire subsection too, where they just don't care. But yeah, potentially. I think that Bowden printers present more problems than they solve, and that ruggedizing the electronics to handle those higher chamber temps are probably an overall smarter move than going Bowden because of the kind of tuning artifacts and tuning problems that can come from Bowden printers. And again, the average consumer doesn't know anything about to just work. And as Calverton says, hardware becomes a consumable. I think it already has become a consumable. Regardless of whether you want it to be or not, people are throwing away their printers rather than getting them fixed. So I don't have to like it to understand it. I think it's a really bad thing that happens in industries like this. It's the same thing happened with the quadcopter and drone industry, where they became a commodity and a throwaway, or you resell it for pennies on the dollar. Never liked it, but it's the way it goes. Tina Schultz says, and what about PA? That's nylon. Nylon is crazy hygroscopic. It does not biodegrade at all, from my understanding. Da Vinci said, H2O cooled extruders would be more adapted exactly for high chamber temps. Maybe. I don't know if they'll use water. Glycol's probably more possible. But yeah, it wouldn't be difficult at all to just use an AIO style cooler. Radiators are cheap and ubiquitous. You can go get an 80 millimeter rad for next to nothing, or a 120 millimeter radiator for next to nothing. Add a tiny pump on it and build your own liquid cooling system. It is considerably affordable these days to do that kind of thing. Yeah, less open air printers. So simply because chambers are becoming cheaper to produce. More Core XY, obviously, but we've seen that push in 24. But less machines that don't already have chambers or have some sort of additional enclosure add-on, right? Cooling the steppers. Yeah. Steppers, they really don't care that much, honestly. Like, you can get steppers pretty darn hot before they start to get upset, you know? David Connor Shover says, I use my busted printers to fix newer ones, keeping the same product lines. Yep. That's a good point. And see, what's going to ecosystems, like James the printer pointed out, you'll get locked into an ecosystem. So let's say you start with Creality and you have the K2 Plus, and the K3 Plus comes out. Oh, but the new Bambu or the new Pria is nicer. Oh, well, I've already invested so much into the ecosystem of Creality that it doesn't make sense to go outside of that ecosystem. So yeah, ecosystems can certainly be something that will keep people locked into companies. And I think that's what a lot of these manufacturers are realizing, that, hey, if we make the same stuff in the same years and the same ecosystems, they're not going to switch printers simply due to cost or even materials or things like that. We have to make it so it's more of a pain in the butt to switch than it is to stay. Ra asks, how hot can you get steppers? 90 to 100 degrees Celsius before they really start to show issues. And you can get high temp steppers without too many issues. And when you're looking at high temp chambers like that, your steppers are often also having rotary encoders on them, or they're going pure servos like the HS3 from Pantheon, where, yeah, it doesn't matter, right? If it does start to skip steps, it can determine that and adjust for it. TJL said, would you can wait? Yes. Zerner said the connectors for the steppers might care. Yeah, but you can always upgrade the plastics on that to handle higher temperatures. That's not too bad. That's not too bad. Nathan Chu said, Grant, do you think recycling waste plastic into usable filament will get some advancement or more popular? No, I don't. What was it that the one that Uncle Jesse did a video on that we tried to loop? No, In fact, I don't think it's going to be valuable. As someone that has made their own filament, still has spools of their own filament that they've made years and years and years ago, no, because the average consumer is not going to do what it needs to actually do it correct, right? To recycle filament, you need to first wash, dry, and clean it. You need to grind it. You then need to filter it. You need to like sieve it out for different granular size and regrind stuff that's too big. From there, you can extrude the stuff that's small enough, and you're not going to be able to control the color because it's going to be brown. It almost always ends up being brown. It is slow, it is noisy, it is expensive because there's a lot of heat involved in doing it. While the concept of a machine like Loop is cool, maintaining diameter and ovality and keeping it within numbers that actually make sense for 3D printers is not going to be worth it for the vast majority of people. The vast majority of people would rather just buy sub $10 a kilo filament from Amazon or AliExpress when they can find the deals and just throw it away when they're done. The vast majority of people don't care about recycling. The vast majority of people don't care about the environment, and I'm speaking more on the vast majority of United States citizens. I don't have to like it for it to be true. Tarsman says Spectrum is saying it isn't their issue. Everything is good to the modem. It's not. I promise you it's not. Everything on my side was all updated right before we went live. I tested everything. Even my editors were telling me that we had problems on other machines here. It's not a me problem. I promise it's not. It's fine. I'll call Bobby Carter in the morning. Because today's Sunday, so I'll call Bobby Carter tomorrow. I'm not worried about it. I'll bother him tomorrow. MLV said how hydroscopic is PC compared to PLA and PETG. Very, 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 very hygroscopic. Spectre V3i says, I want to get the +4 because of the active heated chamber and 370 on the hot end. Yeah, and I would say another few months, theoretically, Cheaty should have their act together with those SSR boards. But obviously, if you are comfortable with it, please open it up and verify. You know, that's what I would say. Tarsman, the issue that we have is they're overselling the node. That's their issue. Jacob Lord said in the UK, recycling plastics is dead on arrival. So much money was put into carbon capture burning. There is zero incentive to recycle, plus recycling is pain. Yep, same in the United States. There's zero incentive. Where I'm at, we don't even get recycling collection. I have to go take it to a recycling center, which sucks. So I think that if we move toward more environmentally friendly filament, like a PHA, I don't have to feel that bad about throwing it out. Da Vinci said reuse of it doesn't have to be reprinting with it. And that's fair. You can make, molds out of, filament poop. You can make bricks and things and like that out of it. But I don't think the average person is going to go through the effort. Result equals fail. So yeah, you might want to put a small fan blowing on that board to try to cool it down or some sort of heat sink. Yeah. Sounds like not all filament extruders are allowed. The Artima 3D uses stepper motors as the screw drive energy costs aren't great. It maxed out about 120, 144 watts. The grinding is loud. Promise you that. Promise you that. Build On Sound says, we got a recycling scheme at work with different trash cans, different waste. And it all still ends up in the same bin. Jeez. Did any Cubic reach out about burning covers? They have not. They have not. I need to reach out to them as well. To start that conversation, because I don't think that companies have representatives watching videos, so I think that we just have to go ahead and do that ourselves. Nathan Chu says Zerno agreed. What did Zerno say? I'm more interested in cheap ways to make plastic parts from scrap plastic. Yep. I think it'd be really cool if we look at like affordable mills like the DMC. That's like $2,500 or $3,000, something like that. That you could take your scrap plastic, melt it into a block, and then mill it down into something that's useful. I think that would be really valuable, for people to use. But that's just kind of where I'm at. Yeah, the Artima 3D does seem pretty inconsistent on the streds. on the shreds, but using the teaching tech pelletizer on the resulting stuff allows for re-extrusion with better consistency as it's better metered. But yes, the grinding is loud. Yep. There are options out there for reusing waste. Chris Young actually mentions what I was going to talk about, using pens. So you can make pen blanks and things out of it. So there's definitely money there. It's all about your target market. Yeah, there's nothing I can really do. Literally, me talking about us dropping packets, we dropped enough packets, you guys didn't even hear it. So, and by the way, don't forget to enter for some free filament and things like that. We're going to give away some filament from Printed Solid here at the end. Just trying to think of, like, what else? What else? And I'm sure I'm going to be like, damn it, I missed something. What about all designing? Man, it would be really nice to see some better designing softwares come out that are more user-friendly. Karen said it's not the internet affecting this, or not the weather affecting the stream. Nope, weather's fine here. It's sunny with a very nice 69 degrees Fahrenheit outside and 22 degrees Celsius. Tina Schultz says, is the giveaway US only? For filament, yes. If you win and you are outside of the US, we are in the final stages of merch. I'll just send you a shirt, or you can donate that value of the product to a charity of your choosing. So I'm down for whatever. Stephen Collins says, my grandma bought a block of plastic years ago. It's about 6 to 8 inches in diameter, rectangle, and she uses it as outdoor steps. There are a lot of value there for sure. Christopher Elliott says, FreeCAD finally released V1.0. I need to try it, but I'm very scared as someone that has not had good experiences with FreeCAD in the past. So, not a huge fan of FreeCAD. Would like to see it be better. But yeah, I don't. So, yeah. Romans asked the piece of software for filament tracking is called Spoolman. Spoolman! Tarzan013 says, while the person from Spectrum, hi, I'm the guy on the phone with you, has been wonderful, we are in a circular argument. Hi, Spectrum people, your internet sucks and you still haven't fixed it. You're saying everything is good to the modem, stream says otherwise. Yeah, and I'm hardwired into the modem. The only thing that's there is my router, which is acting as a switch. And I can see my packets from my side and your side, and it's not from my side. Cat 6E. I can go to Cat 7, but I really don't think that matters. And all that. Oh, thank you. Amber B brought me some water. You all should drink some water. JD CCC26 says I'm being throttled. Well, considering I'm only streaming at 6 megs a second and I have a 20 meg pipe, that's not right. I sure hope not. And boy, if it is and I can prove it, oh, the hell that's going to happen from that. They want you to use their router versus our firewall appliance. Yeah, no, I'm good. See, the nice thing about my router is that it's logging everything going in and out of it, and I can monitor traffic, and I can tell you that the losses aren't on my side. So, yeah. JDCCC says speed test. While I'm streaming like this, it's going to be different. But normally we get perfectly fine speeds. We just have issues with packet jitter and all that. Ethan's here. That's not Steve Builds. Things, but I have to say my fusion skills translate a bit better in version 1.0. I would love to see FreeCAD offer the ability to transfer your movement settings and key binding settings from Fusion, from SolidWorks into FreeCAD, because that would make life so much easier. I think that's the big thing for a lot of people. Ronnie says PFSense router. It is an OpenSense router, so basically the same thing. Yeah, for reference, it's an OpenSense router. We're running OpenSense 24.7.11_2 AMD64, FreeBSD 14.1-release P6, and OpenSSL 3.0.15. We are not running the SSL at this time. The router has been up for, let me check. It's showing over a day of solid uptime. But I did just reset it before we got here. Yeah, basically, I'm looking at it. It's a what is this? What is the? I forget. It's a 4-core CPU as well, and it's got 8 gigs of RAM. Like it's a proper router. Beer Bucket said, I've always hated how much ISPs push their own equipment versus my own. My prediction is this year my internet does not get any better, and I still hate Spectrum. That is the thing that I am going to predict, that my internet will still suck. So that's cool. Troy J asked how many customers share the section of your network. We are the last home on the line, that's the problem. I don't know exactly how many, but yeah. Mr. Scary's 3D print says, it's snowing here in St. Louis. I wasn't sure if the lag was on my side or yours. Could be both. I can't guarantee that it's not on your side, but I can guarantee there are some issues from my side. Give me just a second, guys. Hold on. Sorry. Last time on the line, have signal levels been checked? They always change. It's either too hot or too cold. It's who's the singer of that song? Hot, cold, yes, no, in, out, up, down. Is that Katy Perry? I don't know. No, that's not. Who sang that? Was I right? It is Katy Perry. yeah, my internet's Katy Perry. Basically. I'm going to rename the router Katy Perry. Or rename the modem Katy Perry. Yeah, I can literally... I mean, it doesn't matter, but I can show you guys. Oh, it's an Intel Pentium Silver N6000. 1.1 gigahertz 4-core 4-thread. So, that's the CPU running the modem. Or the router, excuse me. Let's see. You get the crumbs left in the tubes at the end of the line. That's just how tubes work. Yep. JD Triple C26 said I had issues like that about 15 years ago. Was on cable. Last house on the left. Was getting dial-up speeds. Had a tech come out and verify it. Yeah, and unfortunately, unless I'm streaming, it's pretty much impossible to catch it. So, yeah. And, of course, now with net neutrality getting shot in the foot, there's probably not much that I can do about it anymore. So, kinda is what it is, unfortunately. We will do what we have to do. So, yeah. Ronnie said OpenSense on that CPU / RAM is more than enough. We run a 2-core VM with 8 gigs for 10 gigabit data center connection. I'm aware. I'm well aware that it's enough. And those cores are currently sitting at 42 degrees Celsius, so they're also more than happy. All right, back to predictions here. What do you guys think? What do you all think is going to be happening? Right, I'd love to hear your thoughts on all of it. Would really like to hear your thoughts. What do you all think about what's going to be happening? I haven't gotten all the way up to Spectrum CEO, and Spectrum CEO is not going to care, but I've got personal phone numbers for things. F said, will non-planar ever take off? Until slicers properly integrate it? No, it won't. So, yeah. Dougal asked if I predict the 2025 extrusion will replace 2020 extrusions. No. That's a good joke, but no, I don't think they will. You out of here? They can't see you yet. You got to come in a little further for that. Oh, God. Amber, what are you, Godzilla?
Yes.
Okay. You want to come say hi to the stream? That's right.
Bye to the stream.
Yep. I'll see you later. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, look. 0 kilobits per second, Amber. Isn't that great?
That's so good. It's such a big number.
Yeah, it's such a big number. Oh, is this like in tech support where if you go above a certain number, it goes back to 0?
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. Amberzilla. Everyone says hi, Amber.
Hi.
Jacob says hi.
Hi.
Amber bought a bunch of tea yesterday because of you, Jacob.
No, because it's not cold enough to drink.
All right, I'll see you later, kid. All right, what else do you guys think? What else do you guys think? Zinner said, so basically non-planar will happen when company releases a printer that needs it. Plus in the work for the slicer to support it. Yeah, I think non-planar will get popular when slicers support it. Does it get better after Amber leaves? I don't know. They really aren't budging on this. Is really stupid, Tarsman says. That's fine. I'll call Bobby Carter and Sean Frank tomorrow. I don't really care. I'm just going to call him tomorrow. Oh, hell, I'll call him when we're done with the stream. Screw it. Jacob said, hell yeah, what flavor? I think they were all like flowery style non-caffeinated teas and all that. So yeah, I think that's what it was, which makes sense. You know, we can't have a real cuppa, but we gotta have something. That joke is only good to like myself, Jacob, and like 2 other people who actually, you know anything about it. And Tarzman, if you want to send a tech out, you can just message me and I'll tell you some times. But if you want to have a tech come out, where is my calendar? If you wanted to have a tech come out, Monday after 1 would be totally fine. Monday after 1 would be totally fine to have a tech come out. Oh. Okay, there's a tech coming today. I don't know if I'll be around for that. But I guess I now can be. I'll be now. Ronnie said, damn Grant, now I'm installing Spoolman on my SV06 Clipper VMs. Love it. Love it, love it. Yeah, Spoolman is supposed to be pretty good. I don't have a lot of personal experience with it because we just have too many spools. You know, but you kind of have to start or it doesn't work very well. Jacob said, I just got some yuzu loose leaf recently. I'll put some to the side next time we meet up. Hell yeah. Oh, Amber's back. What'd Amber forget? Amber's taking her chair. Amber's going to a celebration of life. So... have fun. You gonna take your hammock chair? Your rocking chair, yes. Because your inner soul is a 75-year-old lady that hates the kids on the front lawn and just wants to sit there and rock and, you know, pet a cat with some ice cream. Yep. Yep. Mr. Scary Super Prince said, any guess on when the Cheaty box will be what Cheaty? Is there a Cheaty box that I'm not aware of? Is there what? Is there something that I'm not aware of right now? Huh. I'm not aware of the Cheaty box. That whatever. ND Canashu says they need to have a tech present while you're streaming. Well, that's weird, but I mean, they can just watch my stream if they want, you know. That's fine. I know I've missed some stuff too. Da Vinci said, I kind of like the co-print style setup. I may DIY one on the SV03. Need to find a good filament cutter model. Oh, it's Cheaty's AMS. At this point, if the machines are semi-open source or open source on the firmware, just use a freaking box turtle or, you know, an 8-track or, you know, one of those. Like, there's... I don't know, man. The problem with all of these companies doing their own variant is that they're each going to have their own unique pains in the ass. And they're not going to be perfect. And the Bambu AMS is really, really good. Like, it's really good. I will say I have less issues with my bamboo AMS than I do with the freaking bamboo. It's just, yeah, it's going to be very, very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. And I think that companies trying to have their own just muddies the water, and they'd be better off just, you know, including a box turtle or an 8-track or something like that, or the VVS or I don't, whatever the Big Tree Tech one is. It's a bad naming scheme. I'm sorry. USB-C will become the standard connection for main boards and tool heads. I hope so. I want more USB-C. USB-C is wonderful. TJL says in a mint julep. I don't know if that's her thing. I don't know if that's her thing. Yeah, and their own unique communication protocols. That's the other problem, is the communication protocol. When all of that is also custom, you have all of these other problems that you're dealing with. Yeah. Is box turtle better than the ERCF? I don't know. I haven't used either, so I can't tell you. People seem to like it. So, yeah. Media Man 3D said, torque on the bamboo AMS is an issue. I've had to replace the motors and gears on several of my AMS units. I'm converting all of them to Python AMS upgrades. The other issue is the gears are made of plastic and they wear down over time. So that's a negative Ghost Rider as well. So, yeah, it's a custom work, custom problem issue, as Stephen Cullen says. As long as they start putting sensors and cutters in the print heads, it'll be easy to add for open source. It's fair. It's fair. Nomad's Galaxy says, what is my prediction for that weird upside down printing thing? Maybe we'll build one. I don't know. Maybe we'll build one. We'll see. Yeah. Maybe. Jacob Lore says the ERCF is quite bad. Shares a lot of problems with the last gen Prusa MMU. I'm told the new one fixes a lot of that problem, though. Nomad says I'm working on getting you ABL first. Yeah, I don't think that kit printers should exist without some form of auto bed leveling. I really, really want auto bed leveling and auto first layer calibration without any BS on my end. I think for a machine to become more commodity and less kind of kit-y, it has to have those quality of life features. So, I can just like flip a printer upside down if that's going to make you happier, but yeah, I like the positron. I want to build one. I think they're cool. But honestly, you might hate this. Don't know. I think it's more of a novelty than anything else. So, sorry, dude. I said we had ABL, but yeah, we're working on something more reliable than infrared. Yeah, and with the glass bed, kind of is what it is. Dougal said, I'm thankful Happy Hair still being actively developed keeps making ERCF better. Yeah. Zerno said, have you engineered it in a way that Grant can hurt himself during assembly? I love that you all just like to see me in pain. I don't know if I love that, but it is very funny. Also, 65 likes, 120 people watching. More likes on the stream, please. And again, if you do want to donate, streams are ad-free, so a couple of bucks goes a long way. You know, to making things right. Tarsman said they're freaking cool for booths and such at conferences, easy to transport and such. And that's what I think the main point for me of having a positron would be. It's because it looks cool. It doesn't serve a massive purpose in terms of portability. I think it's cool for those that need it, but I really don't. The thing for me is it's different. It's cool. It's interesting. That is what I like. That's what I like. Ronnie said, invite Electric Boom to help you build during a stream. I could just grab my big Tesla coil. I mean, you know. Jacob Lord said, new prediction, Eddy Contact and its clones become much more popular. I believe the A1 Mini even had a molded section for a coil that was never added. Next Bamboo Lab may have an Eddy sensor. Yeah. Eddy sensors would be a big deal, and with Big Tree Tech producing really affordable eddy sensors, that'd be huge. With an eddy contact, ooh, that'd be great. That'd be great. It'd be so great. Nomad says it's certainly for a niche, especially for people who can't dedicate space to a 3D printer. I am not one of those people, but yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. And yeah, eddy current sensors would be huge. Be huge. Can we talk about shortening Bambu Lab to BBL? Is it a Brazilian butt lift or is it Bambu Lab? Who knows? Their app is called Handy, so it could be one, could be the other. You never really know. Having just installed an eddy on the SV0, I can say it's 100% better than anything I've used so far. Ooh, I would love to do that on my SV08. See, machines that are kind of built for modding will keep the modding community alive and well. Full kits like the Voron 2.4, those are going to become difficult. Very difficult. Especially if we see tariffs. The SV08 style stuff, which is a 2.4 just injection molded, will... Damn it, it's Karen! For €2, in fact, with some sort of sticker thing. Thanks. Appreciate it. 3D printed adapter fits the standard hot end, just plugs into the board. Oh my gosh. Dude, that would be super nice. That'd be super, super nice. You know what's funny, Tars, man? We're only down to like 7% loss right now. Now that you called them. We were in like the 30% loss range before you called them. Now we're at like 7. It's very funny how all of the sudden things get better when you stop calling or when you call them. It's like they know. Needs mainline, not Solvol's version of Clipper, however. And that's fair. I think companies should stop trying to do their own versions of Clipper and just do mainline. I think that better. Bearded Bucket gifted 10 memberships. Thank you. Thank you. Dougal got one. Geek Toybox got one. Steven Z got one. Lisa got one. Mickey Person, sure. Mark, Grady, Bingo, and Josh. Ooh, and Vasily got one as well. No. The stream was getting better as soon as you called them. Amber leaving had nothing to do with it. Amber wasn't using the internet at all. She was outside. Yeah, they were doing a bunch of stuff while I was streaming. So. But we can blame Amber if you want. I'm fine with that, you know. You know, we can do that. And you were just saying, what about Spectrum? Oh, yep. And we just lost a bunch. So I jinxed it. Yep. You talked about it. It got worse. Yep. We're now up to 7%. 7.2% to be specific. Yep. Yeah, I talked about it. Zerno with the $5 says, keep it up. Thank you, sir. Jacob said, I'm getting really annoyed with the V6 hot end on my stealth burner. The Revo system seems like a perfect solution. Anything I should know before swapping it? No, it's a drop-in solution. I think it's an easy upgrade. So go ahead. Project and Dad's Garage said they need to stop doing their own crappy skin slicers. Dude, if more companies would just adopt Orca Slicer or adopt Prusa Slicer and stop trying to make your own effing slicer, that'd be great. Please and thank you. Yeah, she was fixing the greenhouse. Did you get all that done, by the way? I don't know if you got that done. Hopefully you did. Unless you guys have any extra thoughts, I think we're kind of coming to a natural end here, and we're starting to drop more packets, so, you know, should probably wrap this thing up. Yep, we're up to 8% drop. Hey guys, I'm releasing Positron Slicer. It runs on Gmod. Get out. Just get out, Nomad. Predictions from the chat before we call this one. Any other predictions from the chat? Oh yeah, Amber did completely do her greenhouse up. I'll go check it out when I'm done, though. Have you seen the new Creality Print 6? God, no. I have no brain for thoughts. It's a happy place. I'm here for it. All right. Can Orc Slicer be configured to send to bamboo printers? I'm wrong person to ask that question to. Jacob Lord says, hot take, USB-C shouldn't be used for hot ends. Not drag train rated, only 120 watts max at 20 volts. It did just get a like 28 volt or a 24 volt standard. I don't know. Do we need a completely upside down positron slicer? My God. All right. You guys know how this works. Stay about some filament. That is all we have for you all today. Thanks for coming out to my predictions for 2025, and that I was pretty much dead on for 2024, so gotta love it. I'm waiting for my internet to come back. Waiting for the internet. We're up to 10% because I said something about it, and now we're up to 10%. That is all I have for you all today. Again, stay until after funds, and as always, leave a like, get subscribed, and keep making awesome. See you later. Okay. Now it's time to give away some filament. I'm going to give you guys like 10 more seconds, and then I'm turning it off. Predict the internet goes boom. I mean, it very well might. Who the heck knows? Yeah, it is. Yeah, USB-C got a 48 volt, 240 watt standard. Yeah. All right. Turning off responses. Let's see who we got. Let's get the names in here. More than one person did not get the math question correct. Why does this always happen? It should not be this difficult. But it is. Okay. Do that shuffle a few times. Let's spin to win. Let me make sure that one is good. Ryan Gill of Printed Solid Filament, assuming you are in the chat. And let's give away one more. We'll do two. And let's make sure that one was good too. It probably is. Yes, Mr. Scary's 3D Prints also gets a roll of Printed Solid Filament. Are both of them in the chat? Both of them in the chat. I need both of them to be in. Oh, I need at least one of you to be in the chat. That'd be great. Please. 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 Zerno said I will stick to trolling you in the number field. Wait a minute. What did Zerno put for his number now? Because I can just look at this. Hold on. What did Zerno put for his number? 98765432 543120. Ah, Zerno! We got Mr. Scary 3D Prints in here. Do we have the other one? Well, they'll have until later this afternoon. But, yeah, Mr. Scary 3D Prints, Twitter or Blue Sky, and we will get you that roll of filament. All right, y'all, you're going to go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds today. Thank you for everybody for your donations and everything. I'm going to go call Spectrum and, you know, be a person, I guess. That is really all that I have for you all today. Stay safe out there. Don't forget to call your loved ones. Go hang out with Mr. Steve Builds. And as always, keep making awesome. See ya.